We are inquisitive by nature. We have an innate thirst for knowledge and a desire to know everything about our environment. We like to know where the pieces of the puzzle fit. It's what sets us apart in the animal kingdom. Fear of the unknown also appears to be innate, possibly coming from an ancient fear of the dark, a remnant going back to a time when we were more prey than predator, when dangerous beasts could lurk in any shadow. It's unsettling to be kept in the dark about our own situation. It makes us anxious. When light is shed, we are relieved, even if we don't like what we see. It's that we see something instead of nothing. There is a resolution, a sense of closure. It's the same with movies. We tend to be satisfied when movies follow some kind of common structure, a 3-act play with character and plot development, a crisis, and finally a resolution. Except that resolution doesn't always come. In some movies, we never find out if the butler did, in fact, do it. And that's okay, for several reasons. Spoilers ahead about these movies. The title for No Country for Old Men comes from the sheriff realizing that the world has changed, including the world of crime, and it's getting more and more difficult to deal with, leaving him to scratch his head about what makes some criminals do what they do. Enter Anton Chigurh, a real head-scratcher for anyone, a total psychopath. You could earn a PhD in psychology to figure him out. But a prequel of No Country for Old Men about Anton Chigurh's life and what makes him tick would be a terrible idea.
Sir, I don't want to picture that.
I don't either.
It's better not to know why he does what he does. It's more of a thrill. Characters like Anton Chigurh have an unclear motive. Sure, he wants to get the money, but he kills the men who hired him and doesn't even seem interested in the money. To him, his mission is to kill the main protagonist and many other people along the way. But why? Who knows? Sheriff Bell laments this in the beginning of the movie when he says he doesn't want to go out and meet something he doesn't understand. By the end of the story, he resigns because it's exactly what the world has come to, something that has no meaning, a mystery to him, and us, the audience, as well, which makes the antagonist all the more scarier.
Fresh on that there for you, Sheriff.
Yeah, Lorraine, you better have.
Consider Picnic at Hanging Rock. 3 girls and a teacher go missing on a holiday outing to a geologic formation called Hanging Rock. This little vacation turns into mystery and tragedy. Their watches stop at 12 for both the carriage driver and the chaperone. 4 girls venture up to the top of the rock. At a certain point, 3 of the girls seem to go into a kind of trance and venture even further up the rock to the protest of the 4th girl, whose beckoning of the girls goes unanswered, resulting in her screaming in terror and running down the rock. The group eventually returns to their school without 3 girls and 1 teacher and without explanation. A search and investigation begins. One of the girls eventually is found but suffers from amnesia. Things fall apart at the school and get worse for the headmistress with bad press and an angry community. Despite the police uncovering some clues and the obsessive search for answers by one of the boys who was nearby the rock the day of the disappearance, the boy, the community, the headmistress, and we, the audience, are all left without answers. The mystery is never solved. So what really happened to the girls and the teacher at the rock? Kidnapping, conspiracy, and murder? UFO abduction? A door to another dimension?
There's some questions got answers and some haven't.
Some movies have ambiguous endings that could go anyway. The last scene is either cut to black or fades to white, and that's all she wrote, leaving us to wonder what happened. Was it all a dream? Did the character survive? As far as the last episode of The Sopranos, the main character, Tony, was already basically a dead man walking. He had survived assassination attempts, even his own mother conspiring with his uncle to murder him. His own demented uncle eventually does shoot him. He had many enemies, and his days were numbered. We see Tony during his rise to the peak of his power as de facto mob boss, promoted from underboss to essentially the acting boss. By the end of the show, Tony's right-hand men are all gone. They've all been whacked. His consigliere is incapacitated. His trusted men killed. Whether he was killed in the restaurant in front of his family that we see in the last episode, or killed a month later or a year later, it was coming. So in a way, the story cut right where the show's creator wanted it to cut, whether Tony was killed or not. You didn't need to see it. Though there were definitely hints that he gets killed. Bobby mentions that.
You probably don't even hear it when it happens, right?
And there's the scene where someone gets killed in front of Silvio unexpectedly. We experience the hit the same way Silvio does. The sound goes away and is replaced by ringing in the ears. It takes a while for Silvio to register that blood has been splattered on him. If this had been his own murder, he'd have never seen it coming. Why, in this case, does it not matter? Because by the time we finish the show, we've already absorbed its message, hopefully getting entertained in the process, or educated or enlightened from watching the movie or the show. That was the actual ending of The Sopranos. How does it make you feel? You can't bring Tony back, whether he was killed or his story had simply ended. It just ended.